We're going to get started. I'm not clicking that link. I really hope it's a Rickroll video, though. So we're going to get started today. So like I said, my name's Joe. I got my partner, Brandon, here with me. Brandon's going to be our resident. Are we allowed to use the word brand? Did we come up with a dummy today where he's going to fall for things? I see we got 185 with us.
Victim.
Play the victim. There we go. The victim here today of falling for these attacks. And we're going to see, basically, we get told all the time, and I think as high school students, you get told all the time, don't click on just random links, and also don't run files from untrusted sources. So someone said earlier, should we have even clicked the link to this? Well, chances are, since you're at a conference, this Next Tech Navigate, the link to this is not malicious. But if I found some website that looks like this up here, it's some URL or something, we probably shouldn't trust that link and click on it. So that's one thing right there. So remember, this is from untrusted sources today. If there's a download from Microsoft.com, chances are 99% it's a good, like, valid, not malicious link from Microsoft.com. But like I said, if we're coming from some third-party software, you've got to think before you install that. And at the same time, like I said, you're always told that, don't do it. But we're going to actually show the actual dangers of what happens if someone does click those links today. And so what we have here is Brandon and I are not together. Weirdly, I'm in Louisiana with him today. Normally, I live in North Carolina, but Brandon's actually in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I'm actually in Bossier City, Louisiana. And so we're like 2 cities apart. And so what happens here, we're in 2 cities apart, 2 different rooms. We're pretty close to each other, but we're on 2 different systems here. But I'm running a Kali Linux machine here in the background. And this Kali Linux machine is actually in the cloud. I don't have it installed. And so it's actually running where's this brand? This is Northern Virginia, right? This is actually on servers in Northern Virginia is where this machine is located. So this machine that you see me in right now is in Northern Virginia. Brandon, that other third screen, I don't know if you can see it there at the bottom, just says BS, Brandon's initials there. That is our Windows 7 machine. He's a Windows 7. So we're not going to show it on a Windows 10 system. We're going to just show how these attacks work on a Windows 7. So always the fun thing here is by the end of the day, or the end of the session, I should say, we're going to have taken over Brandon's webcam, and that's one of the ultimate goals. So that's kind of where we're going here. Basically, we're going to show you the dangers of what actually happens. So what I'm going to ask from y'all in the chat is, what are some examples of phishing messages, or what are some ways that we get phishing links nowadays? Like, how do we get them, or what do they say in chat there? How do we get them? What do they say? All those different things. Free V-Bucks, there we go. Prizes, free Robux, there we go. Any other things? What are some platforms? Like, do we get them? The old way was email. What's new ways of getting them to us nowadays? Real login pages, scam calls, Discord, Steam. There we go. All right. Anybody want pizza, ads, messages, YouTube links? Also looking for a weird one that's turned very popular is, don't forget, every time you scan a QR code, those QR codes nowadays are also just links. They just go to a link is all it is. And so we got to be careful with QR codes. Free Legos. Heck yeah, man, that would get me right there. So we got other ones are text. I feel like text nowadays is seems to be the popular one. And text actually has a term. It's not phishing. It's actually smishing because of SMS for text messages. But texts are pretty common. Yeah, random text emails. There we go. Free tacos. Heck yeah, man. Impersonating celebrities. Yeah, all sorts of ways that this can happen that we can get these phishing messages and examples. I think the really popular ones nowadays have turned into text messages. I feel like at least once a week I get a text message now, and then also QR codes. Just be careful with those QR codes and all the different ways of free things. I feel like is the way to get you there. So free Fortnite scan, free Netflix accounts. There we go. So I dropped my pen. All right. So where am I going down here? So okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try and trick Brandon. Basically, we're going to try and steal his username and password. So what I need from y'all with the username and password here is, we're going to write an email after I set up this fake website. We're going to set up a website real quick, or I'm going to set up a fake website, and we're going to get Brandon to go to it and enter his username and password. We're going to get him to go to it via email. I'm going to send him an email. Y'all need to put into chat here, how should we trick him with the email? Should it be like free V-Bucks or what? What are we going to say that he needs to go to here and enter his username and password to get? That's what you got to do. And Brandon's going to come up with the best answer here. So in chat there, how should he do that? And so while you're typing those in, I'm going to actually set up this website. And so I'm going to use a tool. Let me zoom in here. I'm going to get rid of Tuck. Sorry, buddy. And I'm going to do what's called a social engineering toolkit. So that's the SE toolkit right there. Social engineering toolkit. And I'm going to run this. Yes, I agree. This is just going to, so basically this is saying we're only going to use this for lawful purposes only. And yes, that's true. So I'm going to hit Y and enter. And then here we go. There's going to be some, basically some, a fake web page that we're going to build here. Notice the first option here is a social engineering attack. This is kind of a phishing attack ultimately. So it is a social engineering attack. So I'm going to go 1 and hit enter. We are going to attack a website. I'm going to try and get him to go to a website and enter his username and password here. So it is going to be a website attack. So I'm going to hit 2 and enter. This is going to be a credential harvesting attack. So number 3 there, notice, that is basically we're going to steal his credentials. What's a credential harvester? Well, harvesting is gathering. Credentials are all sorts of things. It can be a thumbprint, face scan, but we're just going to do a username and password today. So credential here stands for username and password. We're going to try and harvest his credentials. And so I'm going to select 3 and hit enter. There is a web template here. So we're not going to build the website. So I'm going to hit 1 and hit enter to do it there. And I have to type in actually the web address of this to show where he's going to go. Let me make sure I type it in correctly here. Okay, and that's where it's going to go. And then we're going to do Google here is what he asks to access is a Google page. So I just did basically 6 things. I hit 5 numbers and I typed in an IP address with a colon. What happened? That's as simple as that. It's as simple as that to basically set up this website. That's one thing you need to realize in the real world is the setting up the website isn't the hard part. The hard part is now how do we get Brandon to go and enter his username and credentials here. And so that's what we're going to write an email. So Brandon, I'm going to ask you, which was your favorite one here that we're going to use?
Go with the free Super Bowl tickets.
Free Super Bowl tickets. All right, we heard free Super Bowl tickets. So I'm going to go into my email here, new mail. And so we're going to say, let me write this to Brandon.Sally. There he is. And we're going to say free Super Bowl tickets. Whoops, free Super Bowl tickets. All right. And then I'm going to say, hey, Brandon, I sent to your Google account 3 Super Bowl tickets. Did you hear that T Swift will be back in time for the game? Let's put a bunch of exclamation marks with that. And let's go down here and we'll say free Super Bowl tickets. And we'll sign it with Joe right here. And so let me go ahead, free Super Bowl tickets. Let's make this a link. And that link's just simply going to be my machine here. So link, and that's going to be. And actually, I'll put an HTTP in front of that. All right, let's see if we can trick him here. So free Super Bowl tickets. There's the link. Hey, Brand, I sent you a Google account, free Super Bowl tickets. Did you hear that T Swift will be back in time for the game? Free Super Bowl tickets, Joe. Let's hope I did this right. And I'm going to click send here. All right, so send. And Brand's going to share his screen and show what this looks like. So I'll stop sharing. So I sent him the email. So Brand, show us what the email looks like. And then he'll go and download these free tickets. Here we go. Oh, man, that's awesome. It's like an Inception. There's the email.
All right. Yep, so you can see the email. It looks legit.
Brandon.
I mean, I would trust the director of cybersecurity, correct?
Oh, yeah. Let's click on that. There we go. So what does this look like on Brandon's end? Does it look like an actual web page? Yeah. So Brandon hasn't fallen for it yet, but what's going to happen here? So Brandon, go ahead and enter a fake. Well, first off, I forgot to ask, who's got a good username and password that Brandon should enter here? What should be Brandon's email and what should be Brandon's password? I should have asked for that. What should be Brandon's email and password? Keep it safe for work or safe for school. I love Super Bowl 87. There you go, Brandon. There's your username. Throw a little Travis Kelce in there. B Sally the Beast. Which one are you going with, Brandon?
We'll do that one.
B Sally the Beast. Anybody got a password? So, please don't put your actual username and passwords in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I like that one, Brandon. All right. So Brandon signs in. Notice here, what happens here? Ask him, did it actually log in? No. So notice it's no login. It takes us to Google, though. But notice here, wait a second now. He's not actually logged in. Has he fallen for the attack at this point? Do y'all think I have the username and password at this point? Yeah. Okay. So yes, at this point. So what can Brandon do at this point? What can he do? So here's a lot of good conversations. I like to, well, first off, how can he still protect himself? Say you fall for this attack. How can you protect yourself in the real world if you just did what Brandon did? Change your password. There you go. Go change your password. Trash the PC. Change your password. There you go. That's one option. All right. Anybody else? There it is. There's what I'm looking for. 2-factor authentication. What does it matter if I know Brandon's password if it has to be 2-factor authentication, right? at that point, you still got to get the code or whatever it is, the little thing to the phone, still the guy's IP address. No, so you have password. So two-factor authentication can save Brandon here. We could change our password. Another option here that I always like to say, or another thing to protect yourself is, this is why we don't share passwords across websites, right? Because if I have my Google login as this and I have my, I don't know, Fortnite login as this, they might try them on different things here. And so then at that point, if I'm sharing passwords across sites, this is where we can get ourselves in trouble. Let's go ahead and look at what it looks like from my end. So open share menu. Give me a second here to share my screen. So entire screen. There we go. And so notice here, Brandon, you see my, yeah, I see it right there. There is, Brandon, you typed it all wrong. B Salet, the best, but there's his username and there's his password as it comes through. Okay, so I now have that. Okay. Chances are I can try and go to Google and log in, but we're gonna have a little fun with this. And so what y'all are gonna do, let me throw this on the side over here. Can't believe I'm about to do this, but we're gonna do it. Here's what y'all are gonna do. I don't care if it's on your phone, if it's on your computer, you are, but you're gonna go to this same website and enter your username and password. You're gonna go to this same website and enter your username and password. So it's gonna be 18. So literally all I gotta do is type in this IP address. So 18.212.100 and then 92. So enter that in the URL at the top. 18.212.192 right there. Go ahead and enter that in, and then you can enter a username and password. Please do not enter your actual username and password. Please do not enter your actual username and password. And also, oh, it does not work. Uh-oh. Did not allow the login. I thought we had this set up. I wonder if I put it in the wrong security group. Oh, our school restricted it. Your school, are you able to do it on your phone? Would that work? It's fine if we can't get anybody to do this. That's okay. Do you have phones at the school? Our school banned phone. Oh, no phones allowed either. Oh, man. Your school is doing a great job protecting you, by the way. That is great that they have that blocked down. All right, no phones in class. But what I can show here is if I let me open up in an incognito tab here. If I go to that website, so it was 18.212.192, and if I type in, let me go ahead. I'll say I am Joe at cyber.org, and I'll type in my password of T-Swizzle. T-Swizzle there. Same thing as Brandon's, but what I was trying to show here is that we can get more than one password that comes through here. I wish that y'all were able to do it because we could see all of y'all's comes through, but that's okay. We can kind of see here, no phone rules. We can kind of see here that more than one. So if I was to send this out to 1,000 people, maybe only 10 get hit, but I'm able to see them all come through on this page right here. Sorry that you weren't able to participate with that. I thought you would be able to go on there and enter one. It says it's working for you. If it's working for you, go ahead and enter a username and password. That is safe for work or safe for school. So not your actual one though. And we can kind of show that. So that's awesome that they are actually not letting you go to that link. It is HTTP, which that should be step one of, that's probably not a safe site. So. All right, so any questions about this? Any questions about the coronavirus? This is just a simple one of now I have Brandon's username and password. We're going to get to the more fun one here of actually breaking into his machine here. Okay. Need more. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this. We'll get out of here. I'm actually going to open up a new Kali now just because y'all don't have guide peaks. I don't want you to go here. But so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually, let me switch my page over here. We're going to go ahead and go to the other Kali. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create another one. But this one's going to be a little bit more intense. This time, we're actually going to create malware that is going to go onto Brandon's machine and actually infect his machine to where we can take over the entire machine. Because I feel like all the time we're told don't run software. But what are the actual dangers of running software from an untrusted source? And here, we're going to go ahead and completely take over his machine. So same thing here. Or actually, I'm going to ask here, what are some dangers if you run software or an application or something on your local machine from an untrusted source? What are some dangers of running it on an untrusted source? What are some dangers if you run software? Browsing your files, yeah. Info from your machine, yeah. What else? They can find your address. I don't know if they can burn your machine. They can obtain cookies. You can run a little pass or a cookie session hijacking, that they call it. All right, so we can do that again. Mine crypto, yeah. All sorts of things here. I think a lot of times you'll hear financial, different things like that they can steal. The one that usually people like to see is that we will actually access Brandon's webcam and we'll be able to see that. So let me go ahead and you're going to see me kind of type this in here. So some dangers here I have it written down here. They can install spyware on your computer, kind of monitor what you do. They can make rogue apps. They can install other malware onto your machines. They have full control of it. They can exploit vulnerabilities, which is what we're going to do today. They can compromise the network. So other machines on your network at that point are compromised, and you can just lose control of your machine. They can take over that machine. So really at this point with the software, it can be just about anything you can think of what's going to happen here to the machine. So we do have to name the program. So we need like a 1 or 2 word name for it. So I'm going to ask you that. Brandon's going to watch that as I start to create the malware here. So go ahead. What should be the name that we try and trick Brandon into downloading this? What's going to be the name of this malware? So Brandon, if you want to find one of those, a good name for this, but I'm going to start building this. So MSF Venom. Oops, let me change directly to the desktop just so it appears on the desktop when it comes. There we go. And so I'm going to go MSF Venom. We're going to do a payload. It's just simply going to be, we're attacking a 64-bit Windows machine. We're going to talk back with Meterpreter, and we're just going to use HTTP protocol here. Okay. We're going to say, so my machine is, I wrote the IP address down earlier. There it is. I need to set a port number. I'll just do 4 4s. And then format exe. And then Brandon, you got a good name for me?
Yeah, one of them popped up, Scamify.
Scamify, right there. Right like that?
That works.
So Scamify. Please don't ever open a file called Scamify.exe. So here we go. So MSF Venom, we've got the payload here. We've got the L host. Let me double check that number real quick. 54, 145, 42, 148. Port number, I chose 444. It's going to be an executable file. And the name of Scamify.exe. Here we go. So that's going to be the payload. So let me load that. It's going to take a minute to kind of create. It does take about 28 to 30 seconds to kind of build it. We should see it appear on the desktop and be a file that is literally called Scamify.exe. Okay. Give it a second here. And then while that's loading up, I need from y'all, what is our email going to say? So if it's Scamify, how are we going to try and trick Brandon into loading a file that is called Scamify? How are we going to trick Brandon into loading a file called Scamify? There it is, Scamify.exe. So Shopify. So Brandon, see if you check out how not to get scammed. So Brandon, you tell me what you want from that. Give me a second here. Let me move this to our web server. So sudo move the Scamify to oops. And then sudo, let me start the web server. All right, so that's good to go. And then let me listen for the thing here. So I'm going to enter Metasploit. Okay, so the payload set, I'm going to go in here and wait for it. All right, so I'm going to say use multi and then handler. Oops, I spelled that wrong. I got to set all the options is the same thing here. So set the payload. It was Windows x64 Meterpreter and then reverse underscore HTTP. Set the L port is, what was it, 4 4s? And then set the L host. And then I need my IP address again. All right, and let's run this thing. All right, so now we're waiting for it. So that's good. So we are waiting for that to open. Let's write the email now. So Brandon, how are we writing this email?
I Scamify. It prevents scams.
Scamify. Check out this anti-scamming malware, or check out this anti-scamming software. I guess we shouldn't put malware in there. Hey, Brandon. Check out this new program that helps prevent scams from happening. Hey, ready for this? We're going to put it as program. So let me put the link here. Whoops, not an emoji. We're going to set a link, and so I need to set that. Let me see here. What's my IP address? 54, 145, 42, 148/Scamify.exe. And I hope I typed that in right. 54, 145, 42, 148, Scamify.exe. I'm going to click OK. Hopefully we trick him into going there. And then we're going to say Joe. Can't wait for our IT person from our actual work to be like, Joe, what were you sending Brandon? Should I send it to Georgette too? Nah. All right. So send. Brandon should have got the email. So I'm going to stop here. Okay. Brandon, go ahead and share your screen and let's see if you do this. All right. Got the new email.
All right. So got an email. Let's see. I love that it verifies it and still downloads it.
There it is. So run the whole stop there. Now let's see here.
All
So
right.
what's that bottom say there? So this file does not have a valid digital signature that verifies public. Look at that. They're like, hey, we don't know where this came from. Are you sure you want to run this software? Brand, you trust me, right?
I mean, yeah. Again,
Brand,
it says Director of Cybersecurity in the email. It's got to be trustworthy, right?
All right. Brandon clicks run. At that point, what happens at that point? Anyone tell me here? Remember, this is a machine in Northern Virginia. He's down in Louisiana. At that point, we have complete control over Brandon's machine at this point. That's as simple as that. Those are the only mistakes Brandon did right there, that we have complete control over his machine. This is what I like to show here. Let me share my screen. We're going to see what it looks like from my side. So remember, these machines are different networks, everything. All I see is this interpreter, but if I hit a question mark here, what's am I in here? Question mark, and I hit enter, all sorts of things. I can actually get his password database right there. You can elevate the privileges on the system. We can play an audio file. We can start to access the webcam. We can record the microphone. We can look at his desktop. We can send mouse events. We can take over his keyboard. We could change his desktop so he can't see us doing anything. We can start to upload processes, kill processes. We can disconnect his keyboard and mouse, which is always fun. We can do basically whatever we want. We can route his traffic through our traffic. So at that point, that used to be called a man-in-the-middle attack. We like to call it an on-path or an adversary in the middle attack. So all of his network traffic comes through me now. We have complete control of this machine. We can put files on there. We can delete them. Let's have some fun with this. All right. First one I always like to do is the key scan. So let me do key scan _ start. If I do that, what we're going to show here is basically I just started a keystroke sniffer here. So basically it's going to capture every keystroke that Brandon types on his computer. So I'm going to stop sharing, let Brandon share again. And we're going to show how when he types on here, I'm able to see all those keystrokes happen right there. Okay. There we go. I love how
All right. So just go here. What do we want to search for? We'll do a panda search.
Pandas.
Of course, Panda Express pops up first.
Giant panda. Do you want to open Notepad, maybe make a note to yourself? I really hope I get those tickets. So here's Brandon just typing stuff. But what I'm going to show here, once I take it back over, if you don't mind, Brandon. So Brandon's saving that. Let me go ahead and take it back. And we're going to see that we're able to see all those keystrokes. You see my, yep, that he just typed. So I'm going to just simply do a key scan _ dump. And notice here, it's scaring me there. There it is. There it is. So there's when he searched for Panda. And there's, I really hope I get those tickets. So we're able to see all of his keystrokes right here of what's happening on his machine. Let's take it a step further. Let's have a little bit more fun with this. Let's go ahead and let's actually, let's do a webcam _ snap. It's always fun. Let's see if we can get a picture of Brandon. Got framed, Brandon. Oh, there it is. That popped up real quick. There I was able to get a picture from Brandon's machine. Okay, like you got a server login. Password on there, but we're able to actually get on Brandon's machine. Brandon's like, oh crap, right there, which is always fun. Let me stop that. We can do a webcam _ stream. So that was a snap. We took a picture. Let's do a stream here. Is it going to open up or do I need to open it? Picture opened up on its own. Here we go. So Brandon, you able to wave at the camera? Here we go. We're able to actually see Brandon. We actually have a stream with him. So we're able to see what's actually happening on his desktop, or I'm sorry, on his webcam. Let's actually try one of the desktop ones. Let me do that question mark again. What are the this one I've never, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if we can do, so screenshot. Let's see if we can grab a screenshot of his desktop. See what's on there. If I do a screenshot, yep, we're able to see what's on his desktop here. Ooh, look at that. There's something called private something over here. Y'all see that? Something called private. let's see what that file is. Let's see if we can find what that file is. So on his desktop, I can do a, let me see here. Where am I working out of? Let's do a print working directory. So I'm in the downloads. I want to get to the desktop. So that's going to be a cd ... and then dash desktop. Now I'm working off the desktop. Yep. And so now I can do an ls. Oh, I'm really zoomed in. Oh, there it is. Private info.txt. We definitely want that file, right? Private info.txt. And so I'm going to do a, let's do a, is it download or get? I always forget. Download. Is it private? Oh, it must be get. Oh, no, it downloaded. Did it? Private info.txt. I downloaded. There we go. So there's that private info.txt file right here. Let's see if we can open it up. There we go. Oh, look at that. We got some good banking numbers. Yes, Brandon set this up ahead of time. These are fake, but I got login accounts here, different things. What's even fun about this is now I can say remove the private info.txt. And then if we do a, what was that one? Screenshot, we should notice. Oh, we deleted it. So we took the file and we took it from him. There we go. And so now we have all his private info here. What else is in that thing? You got any good sticky notes here? We got reminder, cybersecurity training, database password. There we go. We got the team meeting. We got Brand. Please don't. I might want to leave that on there so you remember to order your anniversary gift there. We got a lot of good stuff here. All right.
Yeah. I don't want to be in trouble. You can steal my info, but I don't want to forget that.
Thanks for the this is all fake, but please by all means try and that's actually Linda Morgan banking account. So she it's a fake website she runs when we run lessons, but feel free to go ahead and do that. But let's see here. Can we do let me do make directory. Let's do a scary folder. I don't know. We could act like this is some malware here. And if I do a screenshot again, we can see that I should have just put a folder on his desktop titled, there it is, scary folder. So we can put files on his desktop too, but we have complete control over this machine. All right. Just kind of scary, right? But we can go on here. Yeah. Wonder. I don't know. We'd have to log in as the admin. What we can do here, we can do a bunch of other things too. We have labs where we show how you actually log in as the administrator on that. So I guess we'll stop here for any questions. Any questions for us of what basically what just happened or everything. We're just kind of showing some dangers of what actually happens here. So we were able to fully take over this machine and everything. Any questions for us or anything? Kind of scary. I'll ask this on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not scary, 5 being scary, 1 being not scary, 5 being scary. How kind of scary is it that this can happen so quick? Yeah. Well, some of us not scared, some of us scared. Yeah. First time me seeing this made me really think before clicking things. But like I said, the whole purpose of this was not fully to scare you. It's more to make you aware that when you hear don't click malicious links or download files from untrusted sources, this is kind of what we're showing of. These are the dangers. They can fully take over your machine. We could turn this thing into what's called a RAT, remote access Trojan. To where even if Brandon was to turn off his computer, next time he turns it back on, we reconnect to it, we can get it. So there's all sorts. Basically, at this point, we have full control of his machine and we can do whatever we want. So honestly, best thing, and people ask all the time, well, how do we get rid of this? If you ever fall for something like this, I highly recommend always just basically reinstalling the operating system at that point. So I would recommend to Brandon to wipe the operating system and then reinstall it. Now, you might be like, well, I'm losing some of my files. So at that point, you've got to think about what files you want or not. Can those files be compromised? Different things like that. So yeah, but anyway, so thank you all for attending. We're not going to keep you here. Hope you enjoyed it. We're ending about 5 minutes early. I had a fun time working with y'all, but hope you all enjoyed it. So thanks for coming, y'all. We'll be around for questions. If anybody has any questions for the last minute or two.
Oh, you guys have a lot of questions in the Q&A.
In the Q&A, oh boy, I'm sorry, Jen. I've been working out of the chats. Let's see here.
You're fine. I've been reviewing. They've been trying to ask you what would happen if you clicked this link, so I got rid of those ones.
It's Norton 3. So some people do consider anti-malware actually kind of a malware as long as it does go on there and kind of scan. A lot of those anti-malware things, if you don't understand how they work, they're pretty cool. I mean, there's different ways that they work. For the most part, they actually take signatures of popular malware. They kind of find them. They actually take bits and pieces out of the malware. Like this part has to be a part of this malware, this one section. And so they get this what's called the digital signature. They run through a hashing algorithm and it comes back out. And so those are just checking for those signatures. If it finds one and it comes back as not too bad. We sometimes do. If you do cuckoo.ee. This is a site. It's not bulletproof, but it's definitely a good one. You can always submit a file or a link. Notice there's links over here. So you can submit a file here or links over here, and this will actually go through and it actually runs it in a sandbox environment, similar to kind of like the ranges, just on a little sandbox environment. It's going to check for all these signatures. It actually does about 30 anti-malware signatures that kind of go through, and they try to just see like, hey, you'll get a score back. Somewhere near 1 means the file's probably safe. Somewhere near 10 is I'd run from that file if you get something up that high. So that's kind of right here, but it's just Kuka.e runs in a little sandbox. You got to kind of give a little bit of time to kind of go from that. What is the name of the web or the software that you were used to making that website? That's called the Social Engineering Toolkit. Social Engineering Tool, sometimes known as SET, S-E-T. So what are some particularly obvious ways to stop me from being drawn in a link or known as scam? So, I mean, Brandon, actually, I might be able to show it in my sent emails. I'm not going to load up my email inbox. Do I have it open here? Here we go.
Where
Let me go
you
to
hover
sent.
over it.
Yeah, so that's always, I mean, you hear this all the time. So you can always take an email like this, and if you just hover over it, notice down there on the bottom left, it tells me, like, look at that. It's taking me to an IP address /scamify.exe. Chances are that's not safe. I can go here, and let's open this one up. And notice here, hovering over this one, it's just simply taking me to the IP address. Notice that in the bottom left, it appears like down here. You can see that. So hovering over is always a strong one. That's one way. I mean, once we got there, you knew it. But once again, it comes down to, do we trust this or not? So is Windows Defender good for device security? Windows is notorious for being the weak link of the 3 major operating systems as far as having bad security problems. But I think we got to give props to where props are due to Windows Defender. Windows Defender for the average everyday user is a great tool. So how Defender works too is it actually is constantly updating. And so it's an active live thing versus Windows 7 that Brandon is using. You have to actually install the new security updates and stuff like that, where Defender is just constantly scanning. Defender is very tough to get around. Basically, Defender is going to ask you about 20 times if you want to download and put a malware on your system. Like, no, they're going to hide it. They're going to put it in the containment, all this stuff. And then you just have to keep ignoring it. So it's actually really difficult to get a virus past it. And when Windows Defender doesn't know what a virus is, like say it doesn't have that signature yet, once someone runs it on a Windows machine, the Defender can either pick it up as a malware, or someone on Microsoft's security team can be like, oh, this is definitely a malware. Look at this. They add the signature, and at that point, then it's everyone's safe. It doesn't force everyone to go and download and update. It just adds it to Defender instead. So yes, Defender is a very good for device security for the average user these days. It's a pretty good one. So login email, that's different. Lawsuit, I'm not a lawyer. I don't lawyer talk, so there are laws and stuff. And we have classes on that if you ever want it. So, is it true that it's impossible to get a virus on iPhones or Xbox? That is not true. That's a false security. So always be careful with that. Different security features and things like that. But I think, and if you have any device, you can do anything. Actually, that Metasploit I was just in earlier today, there's some vulnerabilities for iPhones actually in there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's vulnerabilities for Xboxes, which Xboxes kind of run somewhat the same operating system as like a Windows 10 or 11. Don't hold on that. I'm not an expert on that. But and then iOS, yeah, there's definitely exploits in that Metasploit for iOS devices. There's even like printers. It's kind of funny looking through there. So sorry, trying to get caught up on these questions here. Have I ever been scammed? Not yet, at least not that I know of. Could you delete System 3? We could delete it from here. That'd be funny to delete that. But we use that machine, so I don't actually want to destroy it all the way. That Windows 7 one. So factory reset. So yeah, I mean, you can take it through and reset it, but you're never going to know 100% unless you just reinstall the operating system, whether it was gone or not. So is Norton, I think, did I cover most of them? I'm sure I'm missing some.
They're wondering if he turned off his internet, would he still get hacked?
Brandon? So at this point, yeah, Brandon could disconnect the connection and it would shut it down. Like, obviously, there's no internet. I can't communicate with his machine. And so, yeah, if he shuts off his internet, that would shut it down. Excuse me. But I could, like I said, install that RAD. It's real simple. It's like one command. And once his internet reconnects, it would just reconnect it back up pretty much. So that's kind of scary.
Right.
There's also the bot ones where, hey, I don't want them, like, it can basically hide the malware. And then these are the botnets that we always hear about. like basically the malware can tell all the machines to contact back to me at like 2 a.m. Eastern on, I don't know, a random Saturday night. Chances are the user's not going to be at the machine. And then if I want to do something, then I can do something. So those are called bots. But
Cool. People are wondering if they use a VPN, could they prevent scams like this?
so VPN actually wouldn't matter here because it would still be on Brand's machine. This traffic would just go through the VPN to their machine. All the VPN does is hide your IP address, which the IP address isn't a big deal here. When Brandon did connect, I can see his IP address. I got to scroll all the way back up. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. So when he connected, here is the IP address that he's using connecting to my machine. You can kind of see here. Actually, it's using a private there too. But there, I'm sorry. That's the same one. Yeah. Here's his IP address. This is actually the connection on his machine. If it was going through a VPN, it wouldn't really matter because it would just give me the IP address of the VPN, and that's where I would connect through. So that actually wouldn't save you here. So
awesome. And then to avoid this type of thing, would using an entirely different email work if that burner email isn't logged into or connected to anything, or is your computer itself pretty much done for?
I mean, at that point, I don't think the email matters because as long as you click the link and run the program, that's where it's bad. So if I sent it to Brandon's personal email and he still went to the website, at that point, it's still doing the same thing. So I don't think what email account it comes through matters. It's more so just don't go to the website and don't run that link. So yeah.
Cool. I'm counting this one as done. Is there a way to know if a link is sketchy when it looks pretty credible based on that cuckoo?
You could always use cuckoo. There's a lot of ways, but I think the general rule of thumb is where did the email come from? Like Brandon kept saying on here is he's like, hey, this is coming from, I hate to always use it, but like my boss, like why would my boss be sending this? I typically wouldn't be sending him malicious things. Now, if it came from some email address that didn't even make sense and he didn't know who it was, chances are he's not going to run it then. So that's the big rule of thumb is where did it come from? Who did it come from? Do you trust this person or not? So that's kind of where it comes from. So
cool. Someone's asking for a confirmation on if this works. I think that if you restart your PC 3 times in a row, you launch it in safe mode and they can't get you and you can fight back.
Yeah, so safe mode is going to launch it where it's only basically software that has known by Microsoft is safe. So the program that's running now, this malware, actually it's a Meterpreter is very well known signature, but basically it wouldn't be one that Microsoft says is 100% trusted, so it wouldn't be allowed to run. So yeah, that safe mode would stop this. Even if I was calling back to it trying to get it to reconnect, safe mode would stop this because the software that's running, it's attached to, I think, File Explorer right now, wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, good question though.
Awesome. And then last question for each of you, what's your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job, being able to work with teachers and students out in the country, and because we write a lot of curriculum stuff, but working with y'all and stuff like this. So Brands is working with me. No, I'm just kidding.
Same thing. I saw in the chat somebody mentioned like ransomware and WannaCry. Like I love deploying ransomware on one of our VMs just to see it and what actually occurs.
I love it. Well, thank you both